So in today's web dev tip, we're going to fix the CORS problem that we've got with our web app and API. And if you don't know what CORS is, you may have come across this before and maybe not completely understood it. But essentially, it's when you've got a request coming from the browser, which is from one domain or one origin, and you're trying to make a request to an API service, for example, like in our example. It could be for any type of resource, but for us, it's to get the JSON from the response from the API endpoint, and that's actually on another domain. And you might think, well, with our example, surely everything's at the same point, and that is actually true in the production service when we push our code live. However, with our local setup, we're actually making a request from the web app, which is running on localhost port 4200, to the API, which is on localhost, but the port is 3333. So they've considered different origins. So essentially, we're getting this error where the request is being blocked, and you can see that from our tutorial yesterday where we get this CORS restriction error. So we're going to fix that in this tutorial, and we're going to do that by adding a package to our Express app, which is simply called CORS, and then enabling that with Express to enable the request to be successful. So let me just open up another terminal here. And I'm going to be installing the CORS package. So we just simply say npm install CORS, and we let npm do its thing and install that for us. And then in our main.ts file, not in the web app, we need to go into the API itself, which is up here somewhere. So that's rickandroll, that is the API package project. So we go in here and we find the main.ts file. And in here is where Express gets set up, and we simply import that CORS package. So we simply say import star as CORS from CORS. I don't think it has a default export from the CORS package, so you just import everything from it as a named export here, which we've just called CORS. You can call it anything you like, but it makes sense to keep it the same. And inside of the Express app, to actually use it, we just say app.use, and then we call the main CORS function that we've just imported. And once the API has been rebuilt, we should have enabled any requests for the API itself. So the service is still up and running. So now we can make requests from any domain, including the localhost web app that we've got running on the different port number, and the Express app should be able to accept that and process the request. So if we go back to our web app and just let's clear the terminal here. So that's triggered when we actually click the create rickroll button. So let's click that now. And you can see now we're getting a good response in the console here. And if you have a quick look in the network tab, and if we have a look at the XHR requests that are coming through here, I'll just scroll this up a little bit. You can see here the previous request that we made where it was we were getting the CORS error, but now you can see we're making that post request to the endpoint, and this is the response that we're getting back with the result from the newly created rickroll that we've inserted into the database. So that's pretty much all we need to do to get the API set up to accept requests from anywhere. Of course, we might not want to do that when we push this live to production. We might not want the API to be completely open and accept requests from anywhere, or we might. We will have to make that decision later on. So in a future tutorial, what we'll do is we'll look at how we can restrict those settings within CORS to make sure that they're only restricted to the domain, to the rickandroll.me domain, if that's what we're intending to do. But now we've got our rickandroll web app actually able to send requests to the API and receive the responses. But that's it for this tutorial. Make sure you stay tuned for more web dev tips.